Yeah, let's just be recording my own audio so that we can replay some of the version later for your own revision. Yeah. Hmm. May I just get you guys to just introduce yourself so that I try to remember your name. I remember the both of them. How about both of you? You are the Okay, which school are you from? And you? Sorry? Okay, and your same school? Alright, you?
I'm Valerie.
Okay. Oh, okay. Have you seen me around in RI before? I used to teach the IP program just a few months ago. Never not seen me around. Okay. I used to teach the Sec 4 social studies and history over there. Yeah, but for econs, I've been teaching for the past 10 years. Yeah. Econs is still more fun. Yeah. Okay. How many of you struggle with this subject? Okay. What do you struggle most with econs?
Like I don't really know what's the structure for essay writing.
Okay, structure, writing style, right? I will try to go through that in detail. How about you?
I don't know what to write, like R1, R2, then
Okay. Basically, okay, there's three levels lah, and of course there's evaluation. Evaluation is always the hardest. Yeah, so econs has quite a few layers. How about Joshua? How's econs for you?
I struggle passing.
Struggle. Okay, but what do you think you struggle with? Like the conceptual understanding, the evaluation. Okay. All right. So let me just start today's session. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Before I start, right, let me just briefly go through with you what we'll be covering today, as well as a little bit about ourselves lah. So welcome to OVERMUGGED. Okay. This is the EOY revision. It's really just nice 1 month before your promos. Hopefully, you all will find this session useful. You all can use it. For those who are at our physical outlet, you all see the revision kit on your table, right? So this will really help you to do well. Okay. The revision kit will cover about 85% of content, but you notice the way I prepare the notes, right? It's a lot of based on application as well as evaluation. That means that market failure, we're not just going to tell you the things that you learn in school. We're going to focus more on the strength and benefit of each solution and going to show you different contexts. So in exam, right, you all must know how to tweak your answer to answer different kind of question. Okay, and hopefully you all can score. Okay, let me just quickly go through this. Okay, this is an A-level channel. So again, you all can download the worksheet from there. Some of the content I cover will be on this channel as well. Just open the Google Drive. Our team is a very young team of teachers that you all can tell. Okay, so many of us are quite experienced, even though we are young. So for me, I've been teaching since my national service days. So every weekend I'll be out teaching econs. And econs is my passion. Why do I like econs so much? Because I'm actually an investor. I actually invest in the stock market as well. And actually my econs knowledge, they help me quite a lot. Yeah, I try to guess my age. Yeah, so actually this knowledge do help me help me invest lah. And a lot of us we enjoy teaching and we have fun. And I also hope that when people come for tuition, right, normally it can be quite stressful, but we hope that it can be fun. It can be a very enjoyable process. So I want it to be a place where every Saturday look forward to coming for econs. Okay, so actually my Saturday class is actually for J2 right now. Next year, of course, this year I plan to open one class in December for you all. Okay, the class is very lively. Okay, people come there, they feel happy, they enjoy econs in a more relaxing manner. Okay, so that's us. Okay, we got a few branches. This of course the Bukit Timah branch. We have Parkway and of course Serangoon branch as well. We have other spaces in Toa Payoh and Jurong East and Woodlands. Okay, a bit of myself. Okay, don't guess my age. Okay, I know I look not too young, but young enough. I taught in RI. Okay, I taught the IT program in RI for quite some time. I teach history and social studies over there. But for econs, I've actually been teaching for the past 13 years since my national service. Okay, so yeah, I've been teaching for 13 years in terms of private tuition. Econs, I believe in making econs fun and enjoyable. And more importantly, when you look at the surroundings, right? Like let's say Taylor Swift. You all can use elasticity concept to explain why the price of resale Taylor Swift tickets is so expensive. No, so my goal with this is very simple. When you look around you, you all can see econs around you. And that's my goal. Okay, I don't want it to be this very boring subject, just mark and mark, okay? But in terms of my track record, okay, over 70%, okay, about 70% of my students scored an A. Most of them, the rest, the 20-30% score a B lah, okay? This requires 1 year of hard work. Just to share, it's not just my hard work, but also it requires students to work hard lah. I mean, I can teach them the concept, I can teach them how to do well. But of course, you also must put in the effort if you really want to get an A, right? I mean, coming regularly on class, doing the assigned work, having regular revision. But I believe in making learning easy. So you'll see the booklet you have on your table, the one that cover like your content, right? It's really to help you is to make econs easy. So you see a lot of tables, you see flow chart. So in class, right, I use a lot of flow chart, a lot of diagram, a lot of tables. So instead of reading 100 pages of very boring notes, I try to summarize them. Okay. What I'll do will complement your school. So whatever your school teach, right? My aim is to, of course, be a bit more exam focused to help you with the questions lah. Okay. So this is something that I aim to help you all to do lah, to really focus on the exam question, right? Because you can know your content by the end of the day, exam, how to do well. Okay, what are we going to do today? Okay, y'all can take a look at the screen. Okay, now looking at this, I want y'all take a look. Okay, see what are some things that I will cover today. Sorry, I got some people commented they can't see my slides moving, so let me just double check again. Hey. Oh yeah, please join us. Sorry. Okay, sorry for those at home. I think finally y'all can see my screen moving. Okay, so right. Today we are going to revise market failure. I'm going to talk about the misconception and of course step-by-step instruction on how to do market failure. Okay, both positive, negative externality I'll teach you all. Commonly tested question. So this EOY revision, I'm going to go through the very hot question that I think got high chance of coming up for your prelims and of course for your A-levels. More importantly, answering techniques. Okay, for econs, there's a few levels. The basic level is understanding your concept. So I'll go through some concept. But you know your concept very well, you the most can get a D grade. Okay, D for donkey, okay? How do you get A? To get B, you must be able to apply your knowledge to a case study, to an essay. I mean, application is a B. Now, Cambridge only gives A to students who can both apply and evaluate. And that's not easy lah. Okay, application and evaluation requires some effort. So that's the highest, the best grade you'll get lah. So today I'm going to go through a bit of evaluation. Of course, this is just a 1 hour 45-minute lesson. I won't be able to go through everything in detail, but hope that you all leave this place with just a bit more knowledge on how to do econs better. Okay, let's begin. Hopefully the most productive 1 hour 45 minutes, 2 hours. Okay, before I start, right, I just want to show a little bit of how econs knowledge helped me. Okay, so I actually invest in the stock market quite regularly, right? So the SIA, right? Now, during the pandemic, okay, if I ask you to use your demand and supply concept to study airline, okay, can I ask you something? What are some factors that led to a drop in demand for, let's say, plane travel or post-pandemic? What are some things? Can I hear from some of you? Okay, can I hear from you? Yeah.
Like what led to like decrease in demand?
Yeah. Air travel. So what are some determinants?
The closing of like borders.
Okay, closure of borders, regulatory measures, right? And of course later because the fear of flying, right? Okay, so of course during the pandemic, I remember the share price of SIA dropped from like initially was like nearly $6, dropped away to $3.70. So that's when I start buying SIA share. Because I know that one day when people start to travel again, there's something called revenge travel, right? I mean people very long then go overseas, then all of a sudden borders open, everyone chong to travel, right? So this is when I started to buy a lot of SIA stock when it was the cheapest, $3.70. Then later it shot up. In fact, it shot up to close to $6 recently. I sold it at nearly double the profit lah. Okay, I mean, including my dividends, but nearly double. So it's something that we need to take note of. Demand and supply help you with understanding the market. Okay, some of the things that I bought in 2021 when I thought oil, I think you all know, supply is quite inelastic, right? Because even if the price of oil shoot up, producer take time before they can actually produce oil. So these are some of the things I invest in. And when something is supply inelastic, do you agree with me when demand shoot up, your price will shoot up very quickly? Because supply just cannot keep up with demand, right? So I tend to buy things that I think supply is quite price inelastic. I tend to buy those companies. Let me show you another one. This Lockheed Martin, okay, it's a defense contractor in USA. The share price shot up at the start of 2022 because of the Russia-Ukraine war. So of course, this is a weapon manufacturer. So of course, you know factors driving demand. Okay, so of course I know there's a war, people are buying all weapons, so things will go up lah. I'm not saying you should do that lah, but just saying that there are some tools you can look at when you look at the market, right? Of course, yeah, I mean some people do really like defense company, but just saying that having a good knowledge of econs, right, do help you with the understanding the market and help you make better investment decision in future. Okay, so this is some stuff I like to do in class to tell you about, you know, what are some things you can look out for in the market, because one day you'll be investing on money and knowing econ will help a lot. As for today, right, we talk about market failure. I just want you to take a look at this screen. Okay, market failure is when the price mechanism lead to an inefficient allocation of resources, right? And a deadweight loss of economic welfare. So you'll see this concept a lot. Deadweight loss, right? Now, there are many kinds of market failure. Okay, today I aim to go through the first three: negative externality, positive externality, and public good. Okay, if Cambridge or if your school want to be simple, they want to set a simple question, they test it on one type: negative, positive, that's it. A more complex question will ask you to compare positive externality and public good and ask you which one should government intervene, which one should government partially intervene. So usually 10 marks is for causes of market failure. The 15 mark in your essay usually come from solution. And it's very important for you to know that for negative and positive externality, right, it's a partial market failure. Whereas public good, when leave the market, what happened? If I leave public good to the market, okay, what is the public good? Anyone? Give me an example. Anyone? Street lighting. Okay. Why is street lighting considered a public good? Remember the two characteristics we are talking about? Okay, non-rivalrous in consumption and non-excludable, right? Yeah. So when you mention that something is non-excludable and non-rivalrous, right? If I leave to the market, there'll be total market failure because no one is going to provide. I mean, no one is going to be so stupid to build a street lamp because they cannot charge people. It's non-excludable. So let's say, okay, economics assume that everyone is selfish, right? So you go to the market, leave the private company, ask you to build a street light in the middle of Orchard Road. Obviously, no one will build, they can't even charge a single cent because you can't exclude anyone. So because all this concept, okay, you learn about this idea of free riding, right? For public good, you need government to totally intervene. In fact, government should provide for public good. But for merit good, the question is, should government provide fully? Well, the standard economic answer is no, but government should subsidize. Let me give a very good example. Think of a merit good, healthcare. In most countries, okay, except the Nordic countries and some of the Western European countries, usually healthcare in Singapore, you learn social studies, right? It's heavily subsidized. It's a public healthcare, there's private healthcare, a public and private partnership, right? But the government don't really want to pay 100% of your healthcare because they scared they subsidize so much, there'll be overconsumption. Right? Sometimes you got a mosquito bite, go see doctor, then be sell, right? So the idea is that the government should subsidize you, but should not make it free, because make it free, people abuse it. Like every time you get one mosquito bite or you got a bit of I don't know, your nose blocked, go see doctor. But the truth is that actually most of the time you do need to see doctor for every single thing. So when government subsidize you, what happened? Must you pay money to see a doctor? A bit lah. So you go polyclinic, you pay a subsidized rate, right? You go to a GP, you pay a higher rate, a private GP, for instance. Okay, so in your econs, for your promos, okay, your end of year exam, just be very careful. Merit good, government should intervene partially, usually through subsidies. For public good, government must intervene 100%. Government must provide. Okay, understand so far? Okay, so government must provide. Okay, now, Let's move on to the other kind of thing. Okay, now, for H2 econ, you must listen carefully. If you want to get A for your econ for end of year, can you all please remember about information failure? Remember this. Okay, I tell you all why. You must talk about the perceived benefit versus the true benefit when you talk about positive externality. For negative externality, you must talk about perceived cost versus true cost. Let me give you the same example. If your exam question asks you, can you explain the type of market failure when it comes to healthcare? You won't get A, you just tell me, oh, healthcare got positive externality. So under consume, it's a market failure. You maybe can get a B lah, you write well enough. The A student will tell you that healthcare is not just because of positive externality. There's also this idea that there's information failure. Okay, I tell you what information failure. You know a lot of maybe your parents, right, in the 50s, late 40s, right? They don't go for checkup regularly, right? So actually one of the ideas is that people do not know the true benefit and the true cost of things. Okay, the other example is smoking. Okay, smoking, a lot of smokers, the perceived cost is lower than the true cost. Okay, so a lot of smokers, they never think, oh, I'll get lung cancer one day. They won't think so far. But they think of the current cost, say, okay, maybe I'll get a sore throat at most. That's why smoking, right? There are two kinds of market failure. One is information failure. These people don't really know the full cost of smoking. The other failure is a failure of externalities. That at the end of the day, there's third party effect. Okay, later I explain to you. For externalities, you must explain third party effect. That means you must tell your examiner what happened to other people who are not consuming it. So listen, going back to healthcare. For healthcare, the third party effect, you must tell me what happened to other people you don't consume it, not to yourself. Okay? A very good example is vaccination. Remember during COVID-19, government keep asking people to go vaccine, right? Then got the pro-vaxxer, those are anti-vaxxers say, wow, you vax, your gene cell will mutate, make it sound like some scary Godzilla movie, right? Okay? They try to scare everyone, right? But the government keeps saying, it's not for yourself, okay? There's third-party effect. There's something called herd immunity. If half of you get vaccinated, it's more than half of you benefiting. You're helping the other people, you're helping the elderly, helping those who are more vulnerable. Okay, so you understand so far? Okay, so I just want you to just take a look at all these. Okay, I will be covering all these things in detail. For monopolies, I won't be able to cover. Because monopoly, I need to spend quite a long time, like a full lesson to explain it. But this is another kind of market failure. The problems of market dominance. Yeah, market dominance. And of course, there's immobility of factor input. That a bit more complex. The one I won't be able to cover today. Okay, but just let you know for the other things that you study. Okay, everyone look at screen now. This is a very typical case study of a negative externality, right? So of course, you talk about marginal social cost, marginal private cost. You mentioned, okay, look at the diagram. QS, Q star is a socially optimal one. And the market equilibrium at Q1, or you can just write Q, is overconsumed, right? So this is a bad thing. Smoking, cigarettes are bad. The divergence between the MSC and the MPC is your MEC, the third party effect, right? Okay, let me show you the next one. This is a template. I think many of you have seen it before, right? You all memorize it already, right? It's in your school notes, right? Okay, I give you all some time, read through this template first, and I'll teach you all how to do a question later. Try to memorize this template. You in exam, when they ask you to explain a negative externality, you can use this template. Okay, don't worry, they're all in your notes, in the booklet I passed to you, and perhaps in your worksheet. Okay, now take a look at this. MSC, MPC. Then of course you must bring in the perceived cost versus the true cost. Talk about MPB, MSB, then mention the overproduction of goods, right? Okay, now in your exam, you do this, you will not pass. You know why? You must bring context. So let's say, if the question is about negative externality, you must bring in and label and contextualize. Okay, what's the MPC for cigarette, for smoking? It'll be, can I hear from you? What's the marginal private cost of smoking? The health, personal health, and also what else? Can I hear from you? Okay, long-term effect, at the cost of the one cigarette, right? That's MPC, right? Okay, what is MPB of smoking? What's the benefit of smoking? I'm not asking you to smoke, I'm just saying that in economic terms, what's the benefit? What's the marginal private benefit? Is the, can you hear from you? Okay, you are. Okay, it's a personal satisfaction that the one person get for smoking. Maybe a person feel very shocked and then feel that relief stress. To a private person, okay, now, important. What's the MSC? Okay, remember, MSC has to be a third party effect. What's the MSC? Let's be very clear. Can I hear from you? Okay, let's be more precise. Now, second-hand smoke, what's the harm? Can I hear from you? Okay, lung, no, to other people, you mean health costs, medical costs, air pollution, maybe littering. So in your exam, must be very clear about what third-party effect. Okay, now, you do this very well. You explain two diagram, explain everything, and you get 7 marks. To get 10 marks, you must bring in, what did I say just now? You must bring in what? Information failure. So you must talk about perceived cost versus true cost. And this for yourself, the cost of one cigarette, but I never think long term, think about the ill effect. One exam tip that I mentioned just now, always think about short term versus long term. Usually our perceived cost and benefit is short term. Because as humans, we don't think so far. But long term is a true cost and true benefit. Like long term, people didn't expect to get like lung cancer, right? Okay, now let us practice a bit more. Come. I want you to take down these 9 things. If I'm you, do you know how to study for year Y? Just now we got this template, right? I want you all to write down MSC, MPC, MPB for all these things. You do it and go to your A-level 100% prepared. So in A-level, ask you about deforestation. Then you will tell me, oh, got third-party effect. A lot of animals perish. Now, don't use dramatic language, they die. Okay, there's global warming. A lot of things happen. Sea level rise. Okay, but don't be so drama. In real life, not so jalat. Okay, I'm not saying not so jalat, but just saying that yeah, that's just simple English. Okay, later we're going to practice 1 or 2 of them. Okay, then we'll see how you can do a market failure question easily. Okay, let's practice a little bit. Traffic congestion. Okay, what's the MPC of a car? If you thought of it yet, of buying a car? Well, there's a fixed cost of a car. There's a variable cost of driving, fuel, ERP, road tax. But what is the MSC? Have you thought of it yet? What's the MSC of driving? Can you hear from the back? Can you hear from you? Air pollution. Okay, so got health problem. Okay, what else? Can you hear from? Yeah. Noise pollution. Okay. How about congestion? Okay, all right now. Loss of productivity. Loss of man hours. People late for work, right? So less, they call man hours, basically loss of productivity. So in exam, you be very clear about all these things. Like what's the third party effect? Label it properly. Okay, so far okay? Okay, let me just move on to some other things. Okay, tourism, we can talk about loss of privacy, talk about cultural commodification. You know, when people go to like the tribal area, take photo, they infringe on the privacy of the indigenous people, they commodify them, make it look like some tourist object, right? So this is third party effect of tourism. Okay, let's move on. Okay, I just want to quickly go through all these concepts you all must know. Okay, I'll let you all take a look first. Don't forget equity. A lot of people forget about equity. Okay lah. So technically it's everybody, but because private course we just talk about our own course, right? So for MSc we just focus on third party effect. Yeah. Okay. Can you all please put just remember equity is very important. Okay, when you evaluate policies, you all get A, right? You must bring in equity. There are three microeconomic goals: allocative efficiency, productive efficiency, and equity. Let me give you an example. Let's talk about smoking again. Taxes for smoking, for cigarette. Do you know that many economists argue that taxes on smoking will worsen equity? Have you heard of the argument that smoking is a poor man's luxury? Have you heard before? Okay, so the argument is this. Research has shown that there's a larger proportion of low-income people who smoke. Basically, poor people smoke. I mean, according to research, not I say now. Okay. Now, because a larger proportion of the low-income people smoke, right? If the government choose to tax on cigarette, it will worsen equity. Because the tax and the cigarette cost will take out a larger proportion of a low-income person income. Whereas if you're very rich, then tax you also not much difference, right? But if you're low income, I tax you, you're going to take out a very big proportion of your income. So your argument is person equity. Okay. And equity is very important. It explains why, remember earlier on I said public good government should provide, right? But why is it that married good, healthcare, some countries provide for free? Look at UK, look at Norway, look at Sweden, look at the Nordic countries. They are free, you know. Because to them, the government actually don't mind sacrificing some form of allocative efficiency. But to them, equity is very important. So honestly, it's not allocative efficient, no, to give it to free for everyone. Economists will say you better pay lah. You're at healthcare, you should pay. Then Singapore will say, okay, you pay a subsidized rate. Singapore will subsidize you. You got MediSave, you got your healthcare, your C-class ward, right? You're like social studies, right? But in Norway, in many other countries, right, it's actually free healthcare. Why? Equity. Okay, we're going to talk about this in greater detail. Okay, just quickly run through this part. Negative externalities and positive externalities. Third party effect, highlight that. Okay, later I'll go through a few challenging questions for you to think about and talk about market failure. Okay, so let's talk about negative externality versus positive. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's talk about these two. Smoking versus education. Very good, right? There's a very difficult A-level question that came up 2 years ago. I'm going to tell you about the question. They asked this question. Why is it that in many countries, especially in Singapore, primary school education is nearly free? It's something like $10 a month. Secondary school is around there. JC is still very cheap. But why is it that government choose to subsidize university education but not make it free? So university, your 1 year school fee is about, I think, 12,000, 13,000. I can't remember how much now. Okay, honestly, I can't remember how much you are paying now, but maybe about 12,000. 13,000, law school maybe 15,000 a year lah, a year. Primary school, secondary school is nearly free. Okay, now, to do this question, you must be able to tell me about divergence. Let me go back to this concept. Remember earlier on, I keep talking about this concept of divergence. Divergence. So now you must tell me for university, why do you think government did not provide for free? But why for primary school is free? Okay, I give you some time. Think about the answer, jot down somewhere. I will want to hear a few responses from you all. This came up for A-level before, a 25 mark question back then. Last time got 25 mark question, now don't have. Yeah. Okay, remember, I teach you how to do. Think about positive externality. Think about information failure. Okay, use these two concepts, and I want you to make an argument why primary school education is nearly free. But why is it that university is not free? In fact, you must pay quite a lot. Yeah, I give you another clue. The greater the divergence, the more or less government should intervene. Is it more or less? More. So that means when you talk about MPB versus MSC, right? So MPB versus MSB, you must show me a very big divergence for primary school. This is government intervene, make it nearly free. For university, you might argue that divergence is smaller. Similarly, when you talk about perceived benefit versus true benefit, you must argue that the divergence is smaller for university and larger for primary school education. Try first. Yeah. Okay, let's go through. Okay, can I ask you first? Okay, maybe I ask who have not spoken. Okay, Jack, we have a try. Okay, can I start with you? Yeah. Yeah, can you tell me more about, okay, let's talk about externality wise. Why do you think primary school education is free, nearly free, but university is not? Okay. Foundation, moral values.
like people will want to pursue university, but they won't think about going to primary school.
Okay.
Like the perceived benefits of going to university is higher compared to
Okay. Okay. A few things. So, are you talking about externality or are you talking about MEB? Externality. So externality, or are you talking about perceived versus true benefit? Don't mix up the concept, huh? So try to be consistent. So you talk about externality, you should talk about externality. Okay, so which do you think got greater externality? Primary school or university? Jana, you mentioned something very important. Talk about, okay, primary school. Why? You mentioned more values, right? University, no teach values, right? Okay, thanks. I think that's a very good point. You can mention. Actually, the MEB for primary school is very high because of the moral values, because it's in the foundation, it gives basic literacy skills, right, that people need for the economy. And also, right, another benefit you can write down, it keeps crime rate low. When people go to school, they don't do stupid things now. I mean, nowadays in school, you all do a lot of stupid things already, right? Can you imagine without school? I think you all wreck the entire society. So the thing is that the argument is that going to school prevent crime, which is true in many countries. You just look at the developing countries. A lot of crime because the kids are out there doing drugs, doing stupid things. Okay, now I want to continue talking about your point. In university, the externality is actually not that high. You all know why? The reason is this. The benefit is more for yourself. Because you know that your marginal private benefit very high. You know that, okay, let's put it this way. The government don't need to do anything and you all already want to go university, right? Because you all know that you all get a good job. You all know you all get a good pay. You all know that your life will be good. You all know that you do well. Let's say do well for econ, you go uni, get all A's, go uni, you go out, get a good job, get high salary. So your MPB is very high. But MPB is very close to MSB, the divergence is very small. The government don't need to do much to ask you. In fact, they don't pay you, you also will pay your own money to go to university, right? And the social benefit is not as large. It doesn't prevent crime, so as to say, where primary school education does prevent crime. A lot of people do see that the basic numerical skills and literacy skills important for the economy, which primary school do provide. In fact, you know one thing? Too many uni graduates, right? It's not a good thing. You know why? Have you all seen Taiwan? Have you all seen China? The Beijing, Shanghai major cities? Korea, South Korea. Do you know that in Taiwan, there's about 80% uni graduate? So many graduates that there's one big problem. What's the problem when you graduate? Cannot find job, right? Because supply of labor so much, yet demand of labor is small. Supply exceed demand, the price of labor, which is the salary of labor, is lower. You understand so far? By the way, salary and labor, it can be a demand and supply question. Just let you all know first. The demand for labor is by employers. Supply is how many graduates are competing for the job. That's why Singapore makes sure that your university cohort participation rate, right, is not so high. In fact, it's about 40%, 35%. They don't want so many people go uni. Too many people go uni, actually there's a problem. Not enough job for everyone. You need different tiers. This is how the economy works. Okay, you understand this part so far? Okay, now let's talk about this. Perceived benefit versus true benefit. Can I get one of you to explain to me? Okay, for those of you at home, you can type in the chat. Why do you think that the perceived benefit is very high for university education? And why is it lower for primary school? And let's talk about the actual benefit as well. So you must show that divergence is highest for primary school. Okay, let's try. Okay, get from the corner again. Compare perceived benefit versus actual benefit. You need to try. Perceived benefit versus actual benefit. No. Your friend arrowed you. Okay, no. Actually, I arrowed. So let's compare. You want to show divergence, right? You must also compare. Primary school, university education. What's the difference? Okay, let's start primary school. What's the perceived benefit? Sorry? Let's be educated, right? Some people even tell me, some kids, some parents, right, see a benefit if you leave the free childcare, which is true, right? Because you don't want the kid to be at home, so yeah, okay, can. How about the true benefit? Good character, basic. Okay, it might be for yourself, say for yourself. Remember, perceive only myself, and true benefit to myself. The basic numerical skill will help me in my future job. But for uni education, the perceived benefit is very high. I know that I will get a good job. I know I'll get everything already, so the gap is so small that it doesn't require a lot of intervention. So take note of that. Okay, I want to just quickly talk about this. Okay, can you just it's coming in your notes, but don't worry, I'll send it out to you all by Monday. Just take a test, keep yourself in the Telegram chat I'll send to you all. Always in exam, bring in information failure. Okay, look at this, addiction. When you're addicted to a product, smokers, when they're addicted to smoking, they underestimate the actual cost and they overconsume. So for addicted product, I can talk about that. Now, cost. Divergence between NPC perceived versus NPC actual. There's an information gap. So in your exam, let me show you this diagram. Can you please take a look? You must showcase the information gap also. Okay, do you need to draw a new diagram? No need. You just add the word perceive and actual. NPC perceive versus NPC actual. People always underestimate the cost. That's why people smoke. But the true cost is only after 10 years down the road they get lung cancer, then you know. Right? Okay, so far okay? Am I too fast? No. Okay, so just remember this. Next. Demerit good is deemed as socially undesirable. It overconsumed when left to the free market. That's why government should intervene. Okay, because consumer ignore the third party effect, which is negative externality, as well as there's information failure because they cannot see the true cost. Okay, let me go to this case study. Okay, earlier on, I asked you all, right, what's so bad about congestion? You all gave me quite a few things, right? Okay, now I want you all to tell me, what are some solutions that we can put in place to tackle the problem of car congestion? Okay, um, I give you 5 minutes. Just write as many policy as possible. And any policy, I want you to tell me the strength and limitation. Strength and limitation. Just try your best. Okay, 5 minutes later, I'll ask you all. Okay, remember list down the policies, start with strength and limitation. I'll throw a few for you all. COE, ERP, Increase supply of road. Have you thought of that? Road widening. Okay, right first, think about strength limitation. Think about Singapore's context. Think about Singapore's context. You don't get highest mark. Think about legislation. What can we do with legislation? Okay, I give you another 2 minutes before I go through. Okay, just 1 more minute. Okay, later I'll teach you some points of evaluation. Traffic congestion is a topic that there's actually a lot of policies. And every policy, there's a lot to evaluate. Okay, let's get started. Okay, can you tell me what is ERP versus ERP? What's the benefit of it? Okay, can I hear from you first? Okay, let's start from the back lah. I mean from the front, sorry. Can I hear from you?
The tax revenue can be used to fund other solutions.
Okay, good. Every time we talk about taxation, you can mention that the tax revenue can be used to fund other things as well. Cigarette tax, the tax can be used to fund public education. Road tax, the tax can also be used to fund the maintenance of road or to clean up air pollution. Good. Can I hear from someone else? Can I hear from you in terms of ERP? What's one strength or limitation? Okay, good. So they mention taxes form a smaller proportion of the rich person income. So for a rich person, right, maybe demand for car and car usage is very price inelastic. So because they're so rich, taxes only form a very, very small percentage of their income. To them, they don't mind paying the tax. But if I can mention something, it's probably more effective for those lower income, lower to mid income. Because taxes will form a larger proportion of the income. Therefore, demand is more price elastic. This is what we call evaluation. You break down different group of people. Okay, now let me go a bit deeper. I think we're talking about this. How about lorry drivers? Those lorry drivers who need to drive the vegetables to the wet market, those of them who are selling a poultry product, they are probably low to mid income, not high income. To them, driving a lorry is a basic necessity. Demand is price inelastic because to them, they no choice. Even with a tax, they have to pay the tax, right? Because they need to go to work. That's why you notice the ERP is actually lower for lorry drivers, even for taxi drivers. But to them is essential. But okay, mention, if I tax on them, so if I tax them, it might worsen equity. Therefore, the solution is to make taxes lower for lorry drivers, for taxi drivers. Do you realize that we are doing a lot of evaluation already? We're breaking down the income group. We're even breaking down into saying that, okay, the policy can be flexible. You can make it cheaper for lorry drivers. Okay, let's pause for a moment. What's the difference between a road tax and a ERP tax? So let's okay, what's the difference with COE? COE is certificate entitlement, right? Is there a quota? There's a quota of the number of cars on the roads, right? Car ownership, there's a quota. That's COE. Which one do you think more effective? ERP or COE? So let's do evaluation now. Okay, can you hear from someone? Anyone? That volunteer answer.
I think ERP was like talking about growth on just and like you discourage growth on going to like peak hours.
Okay, good. I like what you mentioned about peak hours. ERP can control, right? ERP can choose where to build, right? I can build in areas that are very congested. By the way, the counter argument is this. If I build ERP in one place, I'm actually pushing the negative externality to another place. Write down. That's a very good evaluation. Okay, wait, we are still at the tip of the iceberg. We haven't gone into deep detail yet. ERP. There's one very big advantage over compared to COE. Actually, you're very close already, your answer. Let me ask something. ERP is a tax on what? Road usage, right? COE, ownership. Do you realize there's a difference? Can I tell why? Buying a car is a fixed cost. You agree with me? It's a fixed cost. Car usage, that means my ERP, my road tax, my petrol is a variable cost. Do you realize something? It's actually more effective to tax on variable cost. Because I'm taxing the car usage itself, I'm trying to encourage people not to drive. Do you know what's the other argument? Some people say, see, I pay so much for a car already. I pay my COE already, right? I spent 200 over 1,000. Now it's got 200,000 at least for a car. Must well drive it. So some people, they buy already, wow, the fixed cost very high, right? Then variable cost is actually quite low. So they keep driving. That's why ERP is very important. Okay? Now, let me bring in another point, another thing. There's one A-level paper many years ago. They actually asked, why is it that Malaysia subsidized petrol? You all know, Malaysia, the petrol is subsidized. In fact, a lot of Singaporeans have go Malaysia to pump petrol. Do you know that the petrol for Malaysians are even cheaper than the one for Singapore? They even make it cheaper. They subsidize it. Do you know why? So this is very strange. Car usage, motorcycle usage is a demerit good, right? I mean, got pollution, got noise pollution, got air pollution. Then what government subsidize? Will it worsen the market failure? So why do you think government subsidize in Malaysia? Think first. Okay, anyone has an answer? Can you just share? Anyone? Very good. It's about equity. So to them, equity is more important than solving the problem of market failure. It's allocatively inefficient, but to them, never mind. Equity is more important. And can you please write down? It's politically popular. Politics matters in your evaluation, by the way. Sometimes government choose something because it's politically popular, even though economists will frown upon it. Okay, now let's take it further. Okay, I want you to think it further now. Instead of always looking at demand, a lot of people always forget the supply side measures. I can increase the supply of roads, right? Of course, I can mention it's expensive, can mention that it's time consuming, it doesn't solve the big problem, but I can do it. Okay, last one. Legislation. I want you to think about this now. Legislation. What can I do to reduce? Okay, let's go beyond traffic congestion. Air pollution from cars. What can I do? Legislation. You all learn in chemistry, right? Catalytic converters. So the laws cannot be so drastic, ask you to stop driving. But can the law be a bit more targeted? Can. Catalytic converters, emission standard. Do you realize Singapore cars are generally quite clean? You don't see a lot of smoke coming out. You actually see a lot of smoke come out. They are Malaysian cars. Okay, they're not Singapore cars. Really, don't believe it, go and see your road. Singapore, you know your car, a lot of smoke, you get a fine. Okay. Okay, so far so good. Any questions? Am I too fast? Okay, now, very good. Very good are under-consumed. For example, health screening, education, and vaccine. Okay, then my question now is very good. Can I ask you something first? Very good, should government subsidize or should they provide? Usually. Subsidize or total provision? Subsidize? Okay, why not total provision? Okay, very easy. Ask yourself this question. When left to the free market, will people consume healthcare? Will people consume education? Yes, but it's under-consumed. Public good. When left to free market, will there be any provision? Zero. The answer is public good is zero. Very good is not zero. So you all see a difference? Okay, wait a minute. Now there's a very strange problem. COVID-19 vaccination, a government provider, but it's a very good, it's not public good. Why is that so? Okay, so I want you to think about this problem, or this question. Vaccination, government provide. It's not a public good, it's a very good. Why? Why so strange? You want everyone to have vaccination? Okay, can you please write down? The positive externality is so huge that government rather provide than leave the free market. Because the risk of people not consuming is too high. So that is so good, the extent is so good that government must provide. Okay, let me give you an example. Have you ever thought of this question before? Why are drugs banned? In fact, you'll get death penalty in Singapore. But why government don't ban smoking? Because drugs, the negative externality is so big, so harmful that it destroys family, destroy your bank account, destroy life. The government has to ban it. Smoking to them, it's bad, but it's not so bad that you will die. At least you won't die now, you will die when you get lung cancer. Okay, but the extent is very important. So far, okay. Okay, I'm going to talk about a few more examples. Okay, let's talk about the fun one. Public good. Come. Public good are non-excludable and non-rivalrous. Do you learn about the concept of non-rejectability also? What is non-rejectability? It means that you cannot reject, cannot refuse. Okay. Look at my screen. Street lighting is non-excludable. Public defense is non-excludable. Read the definition first. I'm going to ask you difficult questions soon. Read first. Non-excludable. Okay, I want one of you to summarize. What is non-excludable? Can I ask you? Yeah, just summarize in your own words. What is non-excludable? Okay, very hard to exclude people. Why? Okay, not restricted. There's no barriers. They can enjoy for free. Street lighting. Cannot exclude. I build a light in Orchard Road. 10 people stand there, 11 person come, also cannot block a person, right? People won't pay. You won't pay a single cent for your HDB build a light below. You won't. No one will pay because you can free ride. Concept is free ride. When people free ride, there's no effective demand. Because effective demand is you must be willing and able to pay, right? More willing to pay, I can take for free, why to pay? So there's no price signal. If you are light producer? Will you be so stupid and build a light in Orchard Road? No, right? Because people won't pay you, man. People will just stand there and enjoy life for free. No resource will be allocated. Zero provision. Okay, this one very easy to understand. I'm going to ask you all another question. This one is harder, non-rivalrous. The most important thing is this, MC by an additional user is 0. Okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Think first, public parks, botanic gardens, gardens by the bay. You see the public good. Think first, don't answer yet. Okay? Museums. Is it a public good? This question came up at 11 before about museums. In 2009 or something, very many years ago, they asked one question. They asked about museums in Japan, make it free. But is it really a public good? Think first. Okay, read the definition. Consumption of a public good will not diminish the quantity or quality available for others. Now, let me ask you a question. Can someone explain to me why street lighting is non-rivalrous? Why is street lighting non-rivalrous? It doesn't diminish the enjoyment of another person, right? It doesn't diminish the quality of quantity. 10 people stand on a light, the 11th person come in. Does it make it less bright? No, it doesn't go dimmer. Unless you very fat lah, then go in block the light lah, cannot lah. Okay, but most people, 11 people you won't, right? Okay, public parks. Can I ask you a question? Is it non-rivalrous? Generally, no. 10 people versus 15 people. Unless you don't like your friend's face, then your friend go to a park, wow, you feel so lack of enjoyment, then your utility drop a lot. Okay, but if you are okay with your friend, you all don't hate each other, okay, your friend come to a park, it doesn't make your park less short for you, right? You still enjoy the park, you still get satisfaction. But wait a minute. Is it really a public good? Then I ask something, why is it that Gardens by the Bay, you must pay to enter the air-conditioned area? So what's the argument now? At what point does it not become a public good? The answer is this, when it gets too crowded. You all can write this down. In case you come up for exam. When your botanic garden got 10 people, it different from 100 people, you know. When it becomes so crowded, then it really becomes less enjoyable. It does become rivalrous. Your enjoyment did when another person join you. You understand so far? Is Gardens by the Bay excludable? Yes, there's an outdoor area, but there's an indoor area and they put fence, they put gate. You must pay money. You must buy a ticket. It's not excludable. So it's excludable. But it depends. So you must understand the exam, especially this kind of case study. You must understand there can be a gray area. There can be a debate on whether something is public good or not. So you must give both sides. If there's a question, ask you to discuss. Okay, let me ask you another question. National defense. Can someone explain to me why national defense non-excludable and non-rivalrous? May I hear from you? National defense. As long as you're in the geographical boundary of Singapore, you'll be protected, right? Non-rivalrous? How do we argue that it's non-rivalrous? Okay, say by a citizen. One more person come in. Does it cost money? Okay, so if tomorrow there's 2 more babies being born in Singapore. Do I need to buy an entire airplane to defend the 1 baby? No need. The 1 baby can enjoy protection for free. MC equals to 0. Okay? Does it cost money to buy an additional plane? Yes. But do I need to buy a new plane to defend the new 1 baby? No. Okay, unless the baby is some miracle child okay? Most people, I mean, you don't buy one plane to defend the 1 baby, How you know the baby will turn out being a criminal next time? Okay? Don't tell your relatives that if they have young kids. Okay, so just saying that no one will buy a new plane now. Okay, to defend a baby. Okay, next, very important. Please read my slide. Missing market due to free riding. No profit maximizing firms are going to produce lie, right? You will get money. It costs assume everyone is selfish. Okay, I'll show you next one. Wi-Fi. It's not a public good. 5 people versus 50 people use got a lot of difference there. Okay? Your connection not good. Hospital, it's not public good. One person use a bed means one less bed for another person. Next. Take note. Equity is very important. I'm going to talk about healthcare. I want you to think about healthcare. Are you happy with what our government is doing when it comes to healthcare? Healthcare is a very sensitive topic because something that affects everyone. Every day in parliament, not every day, like every time in parliament, you see Workers' Party try to challenge the PAP government, tell them that healthcare policy need more improvement, things like that, right? It's a very sensitive issue because it affects everyone, healthcare. And it brings about this very important question of equity. It's not just about allocating efficiency anymore. Do you know in US, in California, it costs US $1,000 to call an ambulance. Okay, in an emergency, some people want to take taxi. I'm not kidding. They rather not call for ambulance. In Nordic countries, it's free. Okay, in Britain, it's free. In Britain, in Germany, in some other countries, I mean, Sweden, Norway, people pay about 40 to 50% of the income on tax. Very, very high percentage, okay, of income on tax. Singapore, you pay less than 20%, by the way. Okay, so there are people who pay very high income and therefore they get free healthcare. It's very equitable. Or in GP, you say, okay, it creates the egalitarian notion of society where the rich are willing to pay tax and give to the poor. Singapore is we don't do that. But Singapore, they give subsidies. They got share subsidies. Singapore, the very poor get MediFund. Most of us do co-payment, MediSave. There's a national insurance called MediShield. You learned that in social studies before, right? Okay, the 3M model. Singapore, very interesting. We got the private and public partnership. If you are sick, you can choose to go to polyclinic. If you want to pay money, you can go to GP. Why? Why do we have two models? And why do people want to go GP? Why not just pay for polyclinic? Can I hear from you? Yeah, why not go to, yeah. Cheap, I mean, polyclinic cheaper lah. Then why people pay money go GP? Sorry? Faster, nearer, something more convenient. Suddenly they perceive they get better doctor, right? So in Singapore, we got two. And it's very good we have two, because it means that those who are willing to pay, able to pay, can go to see a private. But the lower cost one can go polyclinic. And save the government money, because government provide for free. It's actually not allocatively efficient. In fact, in UK, a lot of my friends who study there, they waited 3 hours just to see a doctor. The doctor only see them for like 20 seconds. Then give Panadol and bye-bye. Yeah. Because you know why? The doctor's not motivated, no profit motive. They see 10 patients, same salary. See 30 patients, same salary. So they take their own sweet time more. See in the clinic, chit-chat, then the patient come, then take your own sweet time, then yeah, there's a problem with that, right? Singapore believe more in efficiency, so we try to subsidize the poor, but we have private, public hospital. Private, they have to be efficient and they be good. You know why? So many firms. Your lousy people won't go to you. So private got the incentive Just like capitalism got some benefit I mean, you're an econ student, right? You all know, right? Government provide, it's not always good. So think about this. This is very important question. You all might say econs Why is it that some country provide free healthcare? Because it's equitable. Singapore wants some efficiency. We don't mind having some private firms. very common question in EOY paper, healthcare. To what extent should government intervene? It depends on country lah, right? And it depends on whether you want to pay more tax or not. Okay, I'm going to just quickly run through a few things. I will run through the suggested format. Okay. Third party effect. Okay, come take a look at this. Okay, take a look at this format. Okay, so this is a very typical externality template lah. Remember talk private cost, benefit, external cost, okay, the link, okay, this part. Yeah, the same format lah. Okay, for those of you with the worksheet, just remember pages 1 to 3 had a template lah. Okay, right now, I am going to go to policies. Okay, first one, taxation. Okay, I want everyone spend the next 3 minutes. I just want you to quickly scribble down the benefit and cost of taxation. Then I'll explain. Okay, let's talk about demerit. Let's say it's what's it called? Smoking, for instance. You all can take a look at the screen. I give you all some things to start off with. Okay, but there are more. There are more evaluation points. I want you to think about all the things about taxation that you learned so far. Okay, what are the good things and what are the not so good things about taxation?
overall under tax, the daily loss is not
Correct. Okay, let's start now. Okay, advantage. Okay, generally speaking, taxes give revenue. You can fund other things, right? So let's say you want to do education, you also can use taxes to get the money. Okay, the best thing that you already write in cost paper is this. It internalize the cost. Because it's an external cost, when you do a tax, you're forcing consumer to internalize it. Okay, so market force remain intact. Consumer freedom is not compromised. Why do I say consumer freedom not compromised? Taxes is different from ban. So taxes do recognize and respect consumer choice. They say that you can smoke if you want, just pay the tax. So these are some advantages of taxes. Okay. Now, taxes might not work if your PED is inelastic. Remember I mentioned, if you're high income, a tax also no use, you'll still pay, right? Because it takes up a smaller proportion of the income. And if someone is addicted to something, no matter how much you tax, no use. Okay, but I can mention a few things. Taxes will be more effective to lower income. Taxes is more effective to prevent the uptake of smoking. It prevents people who have not smoked, prevents them from even wanting to buy the first pack of cigarette because very expensive. But of course, once you smoke already, once you're addicted, too late. No matter how much I tax, if you're really addicted, and assuming demand in price inelastic, people still smoke. So you can mention in your exam, it prevents people from first wanting to try. Okay. Next, this is very important. PED will determine whether the cost is passed down to consumer or not. If I tax something, doesn't mean producer pass down the cost to consumer. But if they know that smoking demand in price inelastic, then sure, they'll pass down the increase in tax cost to the consumer. This applies to alcohol. So Singapore got very high alcohol tax. Okay, next. A good, okay, if you tax too much, it will be politically unpopular. It's unpopular. Yeah. Remember just I talked about the case of petrol in Malaysia. Instead of taxing, they get subsidies because it's popular now. Yeah. Okay. The last one point here is a bit interesting, but I'm not going into too much details. Okay, it's possible that you see in case study. There's a very weird question. It's not common, but just let you know first. It's possible that a product may have negative externality in production, but positive externality in consumption. Okay? I give a very good example. Vegetable farming. They farm already, they destroy the environment, use a lot of pesticide, spoil the land or don't know what. It's negative externality. But actually, the argument generally speaking, like vegetables do have wider societal benefit. I know it's a bit vague, but you get what I mean, right? It's very rare, but it's possible to have both sides. Okay, now, subsidies. Subsidies is to force agents to internalize the positive external benefit. Okay. Now, let me give you an example. This is a possible question for year 1 or even for A-levels. Electric vehicle is a very big thing now, right? But you know what's the problem? It's very expensive. That's why Tesla share did so well, right? EVs are very expensive. What can government do? They can build EV charger everywhere. In multi-story car park, in a new HDB area, they have it. But how do you get consumer to consume? You must subsidize. You must subsidize. Okay. In fact, for EV charging, right? Okay, it must be subsidized if you want people to have it. Because it's just way so expensive. And by the way, they subsidize. Okay, there are two ways. They can subsidize you, consumers. Let me buy a car cheaper. Or they can subsidize the producer. But actually, I tell you something, they won't subsidize the producer. Usually, it's subsidize the consumer. But of course, it's subsidize the producer, right? Assuming demand is price inelastic. Sorry, assuming demand is price elastic, it's more likely that they'll pass down the cost to consumer because they know that they must lower the cost to get more business. So all these things must consider. Okay, what are the advantage of subsidies? Take a look. Can you all please write down somewhere? It improves equity. It's not here lah. Okay, this. But you can write down. It improves equity. Okay. Subsidies, do you know it can be very targeted as well? Sometimes you can even give a tiered subsidy. The lower your income, the more subsidies you get. So this actually improves equity. Yeah. It's politically popular, usually. Subsidies depend on the level of external benefit. Okay, but what's the bad thing? It's very hard to measure the external benefit of society. Okay, if over or undervalued, market failure is not resolved. Okay, so this market failure not resolved if over or undervalued. Yeah. Limitation, very expensive. And every time you talk about subsidies, you must talk about opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Because when you spend money on subsidies, there's less money for healthcare, for education, for the other areas. Too costly, government might overcorrect the problem. When you overcorrect the problem, you'll bring another big weight loss. Okay, next, market-based R&D. Okay, government can issue grants or other form of economic incentive to innovate. They can give money to firms to innovate. For instance, if the firm keep polluting, they can make the firm give them the best technology. I mean, partially fund the innovation effort, hoping that they can get machines that are less polluting. Or they can fund cleaning up costs for them, like get them to come with technology that will reduce the amount of pollution. Okay, what's the advantage? Is that you actually solve the problem, all right? But if in production, sometimes firms do generate a lot of negative externality, right? And also, okay, don't forget, more goods are being produced. Okay, if I continue to fund them to clean up. So I'm not like compromising on the output. But of course, it's very costly, lah, right? When you want to fund R&D. Okay, so it's costly, you spend money, again, opportunity cost. Okay, there's one more market-based approach. Tradable permits. Remember you studied tradable permits? Yes. No. Got right. Okay, tradable permits, the good thing is this, you are actually respecting the free market force. So a very common tradable permit will be carbon. Okay, so some companies must pay carbon tax, right? But instead of everyone pay the same tax, if you're a firm that clean up a lot, you get extra tradable permits, right? You can sell to the other firms to pollute. Now, what's the advantage of this? Is that you're actually encouraging firms to find the lowest cost method. For some of them, especially a bigger firm, they have the technology. So for them, it's cheaper to buy good technology, pollute less. Then they sell away the extra permits. But for smaller firms, sometimes they really got no money to clean up. Their technology is just not good, so very polluting. But to them, the lower cost method is just to pollute. Then they buy the permits to pay for the pollution. So it actually promote the lowest cost method. Okay. The incentive cut down. Because I cut down my pollution, I can sell away the extra permits. So do you all see why tradable permits are so powerful? But of course, the downside is that it's very difficult to determine the actual amount, like how much to give. Okay, so this is something to think about. I mean, how much should government issue the amount of permit? Okay, y'all can copy this down. Direct provision can be for public good or merry good. Okay, now, again, remember I mentioned public goods government should provide, merry good maybe shouldn't provide fully, right? Should subsidize. So let me quickly talk about this. Well, provision, right? The good thing is that it encourage affordability. Okay, it really increase affordability. It improve equity, right? Provision. Okay, so I'm just going to move to the next part. Limitations. It's very hard to determine, okay, how much of a good is needed. Okay, if they over allocate, it might create a government failure. And very costly. Okay, it depends on government ability to fund. Now let's look at this again. Okay, remember I mentioned this, okay? Some goods government should provide. Some goods government should leave it free market. Again, look at all these things, right? All these are possible questions that can be tested for A-level. In fact, there are more. You can argue that museums have a lot of positive externality in terms of creating a sense of identity, creating a sense of belonging. Then you can argue the government might want to give it free. In fact, in Singapore, museums, even though it's not a public good, but for Singapore citizens, it's free, right? For a national museum at least. Early years of education. Nowadays, there's this very big question about equity. Because nowadays the rich kid in Singapore, they'll go intern how go Montessori, right? Okay, do raise your hand, you're one of those who go there. But the argument is that those from lower income family do not have the same kind of head start in life. They don't get the kind of preschool education. So the question is this, should government provide? That's why nowadays the government keep funding the preschools, right? What do you can think about? Okay, now you got about 20 minutes left. I just want you to think through an 11 question. Okay, can you just take a look at the first? Can you look at this question first? It's in your worksheet, I think. Did I put in your worksheet? Yes, right. Okay, I want you to just scribble down. I give you about 7 minutes. Just scribble down your answer in point form. Then I'll go through them. Did I go through in point form? Will you all be here tomorrow? Because tomorrow I will going through like the question B in greater depth. Do you all sign for tomorrow? No. Okay, there'll be a YouTube video uploaded. So after that, if you all miss the lesson tomorrow, you also can see lah. But give us a while. It takes I think it takes about at least 1 week to process the YouTube video. Yeah, because we need to add some other content as well. Okay, for those of you, I know you all want to take down answer everything, right? You give me a few more days, I will process the answer, I will put in a PDF copy, then I'll upload in our Telegram chat. So just go and download again. So just give me a while because I need to tidy up the answers. So for those of you at home as well, just give us a bit of time. I'll make sure I get the PDF version to you all. Do what we're doing. Give you all some time to write first. Okay, just another 2 minutes and I'll go through. Okay, for part B, I got no time to go through fully. So just wait for next lesson, and the rest of you just give me a wink and wait for the YouTube video. Okay, I just give you a very quick overview. But remember, this is just an overview. For exam, of course, you must be a lot more in depth. So this is just an overview. I'll send you the more precise answer key soon. Okay, this question is asking about the two different types of market failure. Public good and imperfect information. Usually about 5 marks, right? For public good, of course, you must explain the characteristic of non-rivalry and of course, non-excludable, non-rejectability. Then give an example, okay? Imperfect information, you can talk about asymmetric information. In fact, you must talk about asymmetric information. And if I'm you, I will talk about one demerit good and one merit good. So just get a variety, okay? If let's say the exam question about externalities, talk about both positive and negative. So just give a bit more evidence. Okay, introduction is quite straightforward, so I won't go through. Now, public good, whatever we covered just now about street lighting, about national defense, just make sure that you're linked to the concepts. Explain it, non-excludable, non-rivalrous. Explain it, explain with evidence. Now, in your school paper, you must take note of the context and then contextualize it. This is a template, but you won't do well if you use template only. You use template, you must contextualize it. Street lighting, explain everything about street lighting. Okay, non-excludable, tell me why street lighting is non-excludable, for instance. So this is a template that you can use. As for imperfect information, you always start off with this one. Can talk about vaccination. Actual MPV versus perceived MPV. Okay, I'll give you some time, just take a look again. Nothing new, but more importantly, explain the concept and contextualize merit, good, and imperfect information. So you can mention things like consumers may under-consume things like health check because they cannot imagine in future the actual benefit that there's long-term problem that they might check. They need things short-term, right? So talk about how there's a divergence. Okay, then of course you might end off with this thing about asymmetric information. Just talk about the lemon problem, the car problem that I mentioned. As a seller of a car, okay, you have more information than the buyer, right? So they tend to sell very lousy cars in the market. And the problem with this is that when people sell lousy cars, right? Okay, as a buyer, you think, if I go to used car shop, why all the cars there are lousy? So you go in very suspicious, right? Then you offer a low price, right? But what happens if someone really have a very good car, they want to sell a good car, but now people think, all the car in the car shop might be very lousy. So that's the problem. Then in the end, all the good cars no one dare to sell them. So what left behind is the lousy car, and this worsen allocating efficiency. So the adverse selection problem. This problem is very common in the insurance market. You know why? Those with people with good health won't apply for insurance. Those people with poor health are the ones applying for insurance. Because asymmetric information means the insured person knows more than the insurance company. So it becomes a problem where insurance company, no choice lah. They have to raise the premium, they charge more for insurance. Understand so far? Okay, the next part, this one I'll go through tomorrow, but just let you all know first. Always talk about root cause of market failure. The format is this. Maybe you'll write down a format so that when you watch my video in future, you all will know what I'm talking about. Usually talk about 3 to 4 policies. Strengths, okay, explain the policy. State the strengths, limitations, link to context. Strength, limitation, link to context. Then evaluate. Okay, evaluate can break down to different group of people. Old versus young, education good for the young, because the young are more impressionable. Long-term versus short-term. Taxation might work in the short term, but long-term, education might work. So use education long-term. Talk about countries. Singapore got budget, so can do education campaign. Singapore is very good at enforcing the law, so legislation works. Can you talk about root cause? Can you talk about how if it's information failure, you should use education to solve the problem. Okay? If it's a problem of consumer don't care, right? They just don't care. Then you can talk about how you should tax them. Okay, force them to pay. Force them to internalize the externalities. Okay, so something to think about. Think about okay, let me show you some other things. Cost benefit, you must think of it, right? Cost benefit. Don't I'll go through that tomorrow, but cost and benefit can think of PED. Taxes only work if your demand is quite elastic, right? Laws and everything. Okay. Public good, government should provide. Merit good should subsidize. So talk about the good cost. Okay, now I'm just coming to an end for today, but can you stay for a while first? I just want to show you some slides. Okay, for tomorrow, right, I'm covering case study technique, which is very important for year one. So if you are not here tomorrow, you can just wait for the video for the following session. So you got question? Okay. Any question? Oh, you'll find a session. Okay. Do you feel that you are a bit more prepared for your exam? Like after learning all these things? Okay. Good. Thanks for that. Okay. Wait. Okay, I just want to share you a little bit on the sign up lah. Currently, I only have J2 classes, so no J1 class yet. So I just hope that you all benefited. Okay, all the best for your exam. Just remember to revise the based on booklet I give you, read through your school notes, practice a bit lah. Okay. Now for me, right, I will be having early trial session in start of November, right after your exams lah. So it's free. You can just come. It'll be relevant for your J2. Okay, and I will around late November to all the way to before Christmas. Okay, I won't touch you all for Christmas. There'll be a 1 month of lesson, which is to prepare you all for J2. So what I'll do is that I'll revise all the J1 topics so that you are more familiar with your J1 topics. Then my approach in J2 is this. My approach is that every month of 4 lessons, right? Out of 4 lessons, 2.5 lessons will be on J2 topics. 1.5 lessons, I'll revise J1 topic. Why is this important? Is that because by A levels, right, people tend to forget the J1 topics. So what I'll do is that I make sure throughout the whole J2 just revise. So now my J2 students are going through a lot of revision because now they're sitting for the prelims. A level is about 2 months time now. Okay, so just feel free to drop me a feedback at any time. So can I just trouble you all to just give me a very quick feedback? Yeah, just a quick one, Ken? Okay, for those joining online, thank you so much. You may give a feedback as well.